Coach, obviously the running back duo of Vassetti and MK back again this year. Just obviously it seems like they are sort of developing more into a leadership role. Can you speak more into what you expect out of them in terms of leadership this year?
Yeah, I think both of those guys have really stepped up as leaders within the room. Obviously, they have always kind of led the younger guys within the position, but just seeing them kind of step outside their comfort zone and really lead the offense has been really good. And so, with the experience that those guys have, it's expected for them to kind of, lead the way in terms of building our culture for this year's team. So we put a lot on them when it comes from, a leadership standpoint, and they're doing really, really well at that. So.
With a roster of a lot of new faces this year, how important is it to have those guys that bring that experience and bring that sort of older, more experienced type of game?
Yeah, I think that's very important. So, anytime, you have good players leave a program, you're going to have players that were a part of that success that are going to have to step up. Every team, every year is different. And so having those guys that know what it feels like to have success and build that camaraderie within the team is important. And so, again, those guys, MK and Vassetti, are both doing a really nice job from that standpoint.
Still early in spring practice, but what do you like out of Evan Hampton so far?
Evan is he's wise beyond his years, and so he's a guy that's very, very mature. He's done a nice job of coming in and picking up the offense. He's a very curious individual, and so he wants to know the why behind the things we do. And so obviously from a physical standpoint, he has the tools, and so just putting that comfortability on the field and being able to go out and execute is important for him. So,
what is James L. Last for you? Is he a running back? Is he kind of a utility player? How do you use him this year?
Yeah, so Zell is definitely a running back. He's a guy that you saw have a little bit of success last year, and so we're looking for him to kind of step up. The challenge for him this year has kind of been to, focus and step outside of that situational player, quote unquote. And so, he's done a nice job at that. He's been really, really focused, and he's done a nice job of eliminating mistakes. And so he's a guy that's building trust as spring goes on. And so we're looking forward to him to kind of step up this year even more. So
sometimes a guy like that size, it sort of telegraphs what you do because of the blocking aspect maybe. But how do you handle that? How has he done in terms of just being able to handle the rollover blocker or whatever's asked of him when he's not running the ball?
Yeah, so all those guys block. I think that's kind of expected within the running back room, is that obviously it goes without saying that they're good runners. But it's, you look at last year and you saw the catches that those guys made. They're not only going to, do well in pass protection, but they're going to be good run blockers. And so he's a guy that I feel comfortable leaving in. He's obviously developing that a little more throughout the spring and building trust when it comes to, blocking. But he's doing a nice job, and we're just looking forward to him just kind of stepping outside of that situational role.